أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In our last video, we mentioned two vital laws regarding khums. And today, inshallah, we want to mention another vital law regarding this important obligation, a law pertaining to the khums year. Many might ask, when does the khums year begin? And so Sayyid al-Sistani Damadullah answers this question in his book Minhaj al-Salihin as he presents different scenarios. The first one pertains to a person who does not work, a person who doesn't have a job. Sometimes you have a person who's not working, he doesn't have a job, yet that person acquires certain types of profit. He acquires amounts of money or items or assets, etc. For example, he won't be working, but one of his parents or a sibling of his, or maybe even a friend of his, is supporting him. So suppose we have an individual called Ayub. Ayub doesn't work. However, his parent, his father, supports him and sustains him. Now his father gives him a laptop on January 1st, 2020. Then he gives him a $100 bill on February 1st, 2020. Then he gives him a pair of shoes on March 1st, 2020. What happens here? Sayyid al-Sistani says, since Ayub is not working, then every amount of money or item or asset he receives will have its own khums year. So, according to our example, he'll have to pay the khums of the laptop he received on January 1st, 2020, when on January 1st, 2021. And he'll have to pay the khums of the second item he received on February 1st, 2020, when on February 1st, 2021, so on, so forth. So basically, every item he receives will have its own khums year. Here one might ask, can we make things simpler and pay our khums if we're not working and we receive certain amounts of money or items or assets? Can we pay our khums on one specific day? As in, can we pay the khums of all of these items and or amounts of money on one specific day? And consider that day to be our khums day going onwards? Yes, you can do so. That is fine. For example, let's go back to the example to understand how we can do so. We said that Ayub received three different items, right, on three different dates, on January 1st, 2020, February 1st, 2020, and March 1st, 2020. Now, what he wants to do is pay the khums of all of these items, on one specific day. Can he do so? Yes. He can do so as long as the day he pays his khums doesn't exceed the due date of the first khums year, which means that if he wants to pay all of the khums pertaining to these different items on one specific day, that day has to be January 1st, 2021, or any day before that day. Why? Because January 1st, 2021 is the due date of his first khums year. Thus, in order to ensure that he's not delaying his khums willfully without a valid Islamic excuse, he's going to pay his khums, the khums of all of those items, on January 1st, 2021, or a day before that. For example, December 1st, 2020, or October 15th, 2020. Once he does so, once he pays the khums of all these items on one specific day, he can consider that day to be his khums day. So the money or the items or assets he acquires um, after that day up to a year, he can pay their khums when on the next, for example, October 15th, if he chose October 15th to be his khums day. If he chose, suppose, November 1st to be his khums day, then he'll pay the khums of all of the items he collects, all of the items and assets and amounts of money he receives on the next November 1st, so on, so forth. So this is the ruling regarding who? Regarding a person who is not working. What if a person is working? This is where we go to scenario 2. Sayyid Sistani says, Damadalluhu, that if a person is working, then his khums year begins as soon as he begins working. Suppose that you are a teacher and you start working on September 7th, 2020. What does that mean? It means September 7th is the start of your khums year, and your khums year will end on September 7th, 2021. So all the paychecks you receive, all of the amounts of money that you receive, all of the gifts that people give you throughout that year, you'll have to extract and pay their khums when? On September 7th, 2021. So here we need to pay attention and realize that uh, when you're working, according to Sayyid Standam, your khums year starts as soon as you start working, not as soon as you receive your first paycheck. You might begin working on September 7th and you only receive your paycheck weeks or a month later. So the khums year begins when? It begins when you start working. This applies to a person who has one job or has multiple jobs that fall under the same type of job. For example, someone has multiple jobs, but they're all forms of business. They're all forms of business. For example, I have a store in which I sell, for example, laptops, and I have another store in which I sell food and drinks. These are two different jobs, but they fall under the same type of job. They're both forms of what? Forms of what we call in Arabic tijara, forms of business. So, scenario 2, the ruling or rulings that pertain to scenario 2 pertain to a person who has one job or multiple jobs that fall under the same type of job, the same kind of job. Let me give you another example. Suppose that someone is an employee at IBM and he's also an employee at Dollarama. It is true that the tasks he fulfills at IBM differ than the tasks he fulfills in Dollarama. But at the end of the day, these two jobs fall under the same type or kind of job. He's what? He's an employee. His job is to perform a certain task, and he gets paid for performing that task. It's as simple as that. The question is, when does the khums year begin if a person has different jobs and each job is of a different type of job? So let's make the question simpler or clarify the question. What if I have different types of jobs? For example, I have a business, I do tijara, I do business. I have a store in which I sell cars, but I also work as a farmer. I work as a farmer. Here we see that the types of jobs differ. Farming is one thing, and doing business is a different thing. Farming is one type of job, and doing business is a different type of job. So, what happens here? This is scenario 3. Here, Sayyid Sistani says that each type of job has its own khums here. So, let's go back to the example. I have a store. I have a store for selling cars. I sell cars. But I also work as a farmer. So part of the day I'm selling cars, and during another part of the day I'm working in a farm, cultivating lands and upbringing animals, taking care of them, etc. What happens here? Suppose that I start selling cars on September 1st, 2020. The profit I acquire from selling cars, I have to pay the khums of that profit by when? By September 1st, 2021. Because I began that job on September 1st, 2020. So my khums date, or say my khums due date, will be September 1st, 2021. Whereas suppose that I began farming on April 1st, 2020. What does that mean? It means the profit I acquire from farming, I have to pay the khums of that profit by when? By April 1st, 2021. So each type of job will have its own khums year. Each type of job will have its own khums year. I'm pretty sure some of you are asking, in this case, can we simply gather all the profits that we've acquired from these different types of jobs and pay their khums on one specific day? Yes, you can do so. But again, whatever we said in scenario 1 applies here. You can do so, but make sure that the day you choose does not exceed the due date of the first khums year. Let's go back to the example we gave. We said you start selling cars, or I start selling cars on September 1st, 2020. And we said that you start farming when? On April 1st, 2020. Now, you want to pay the khums of all of the profit that you acquire through your business and through farming on one specific day. Can you do so? Yes, you can. You can do so. But that day cannot exceed April 1st, 2021. So you can simply pay all of your khums on April 1st, 2021, and then consider every April 1st to be your khums date or khums due date. Or if you want, you can choose a day that falls before April 1st, 2021. For example, March 1st, or February 15th, or December 15th, the 15th of December on 2020. It's up to you. The important thing is that the day you choose doesn't exceed the due date of the first khums year. So now we've explained, we've mentioned the laws pertaining to the khums year, and we've mentioned 3 different scenarios. Scenario 1 pertains to a person who's not working. Scenario 2 pertains to a person who is working but has only one job or several jobs that are of the same type. And scenario 3 pertains to a person who has different types of jobs. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala al-Mustafa Muhammadin wa alihi al-Tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.